as a prism through which we can talk about what it's like being black in France, or indeed being black here in Britain as well. Because our French guests have all experienced what travelling in France whilst black means, and have experienced it over this side as well. So they can open our eyes to some of that conversation. And feel free to join in as well. 0800 731 2000. And some of you have been doing by text on 81333. Please start your text with the word London. Robert says, victory for France more than Africa. That's what he says. It's a victory for France more than Africa. So far, a lot of our guests have disagreed with that. Karine Lodor is here in the studio. She's a publicist. Karine, bonjour, bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, bonsoir, bonsoir. Je t'aime beaucoup à parler français parce que c'est la langue de l'amour. Oui, l'amour.
L'amour.
Pourquoi l'amour? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for clarifying that. L'amour.
L'amour.
À l'amour.
L'amour et la passion.
So Karine's here. Karine Otu is here as well. He runs a supper club of Cameroonian and French heritage, but she's French. We are all French. We are all French.
Absolument.
Aujourd'hui, ce soir, tout le monde est français. Oui, tout le monde.
Effectivement. And I think you summed it very well, because I think tonight we are all French.
We are all French.
Let's wait.
We're not African tonight.
Tomorrow is another day.
Tomorrow is another day.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll all be Guadeloupean.
We wish today never dies.
Even
but
tonight,
unfortunately tomorrow
even
never.
even me, I'm not Nigerian tonight.
Are you
I'm not
French?
Nigerian. No, I'm not quite French.
On a gagné. Come on, everyone. On a gagné. On a gagné. On a gagné. On a gagné. Ici c'est Paris.
I have a clue what they're talking about. But the choir leader there, unsurprisingly, was Agnès Kazan.
That's right, honey. I'm here tonight.
Agnès. And like l'amour, I pronounce Agnès rather than Agnes.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Agnes is so old-fashioned for us, but in France it's still very popular. Agnès, who does, amongst other things, the Haiti 73 podcast. She's a head fashion curator at Afro Hair and Beauty Live and founder of Haiti 73 Agency as well, amongst other things. And she's our choir master tonight. So, and yes, anytime you feel like getting everybody...
I've got so many things to say tonight. I'm so happy. My heart is full of joy for every single of those players that played fantastically tonight, that made everybody happy, proud, from the continent to the Caribbean to France, to all over. It's like, it's fantastic.
And is your heart full of joy for Hugo Lloris, who almost cost you the match by playing?
Don't tune your arms.
It's okay.
It's okay. At the end, we won.
I know you won.
You know,
at the end.
exactly. We got there at the end. That's
Where
all
was
that
you
matters.
yesterday?
Where was I? You are so rude. Where was I, Kareem? But thank you. Thank you.
Yeah?
Losing to Belgium.
I was Nigerian yesterday.
I knew.
Of course you did.
Don't come for us, we will come for you.
I know. You're coming for me. Melina Murine is here as well.
Yes.
And Melina, good to have you here in the studio as well. What do you do? What do you do for Eurostar? Interesting.
I'm the best customer service ever at Eurostar. I'm the star of Eurostar.
Ah, wow. So when we travel to Paris on Eurostar, we're coming. We're going to ask for
Please come
Melina.
and see me.
Yeah, I will do. Melina
But don't ask for
Murine.
discount.
I mean,
The family of Guadeloupe is too big. I can't cope.
There's a lot of us. Once you start giving out discounts, you suddenly see that we're all friends. Yeah. Saskia is in the studio. He's the grime master, musician and grime MC, and he's already declared his colours for Senegal. Senegal. Is there a Senegalese football song?
There's a few, but
Yeah?
they're in Wolof. They're not really.
We can do Wolof.
Come on, try.
We can do Wolof.
Walai.
Genuinely.
Wow.
I'll tell you why we can do Wolof.
Jollof.
2018, he just scored one off
No, you're absolutely right. This is what we do.
No sugar, you've got a pounding crab.
Dotun is hungry.
I'm hungry. I'm clearly hungry. No, but we did a Jollof special program, and up until that night, I thought.
Jollof is Senegalese.
Well, hold on a
I was-
second.
I was
Listen,
there.
You were there, of course you were there.
We can talk about
Indeed, Karine was there as well. And you know, you might remember, Karine, that up until one point, I thought Jollof was Nigerian because clearly Nigeria makes the best Jollof rice. Everybody knows that. Everybody agrees with that. There's no disagreement, not even here in the studio. Everybody knows that Nigeria makes the best Jollof rice. End of story. So please don't talk to me about Senegalese or Gambian or
Ghanaians have got a strong argument.
Ghanaians are not even in the running.
Wow, that's
Okay.
disrespectful.
It is actually. Let me take that back. They're in the running, but they're holding up the rear, as it were. Now, up until that point, I thought jollof rice was Nigerian, and then you might remember, Karine, a woman called up from Gambia, and she said, "Hold on 1 minute. Hold on one flipping minute. Why do you think it's called jollof? Have you ever heard of the Wolof?" And I was like, "Oh my God, oh my Lord." End of argument. There's only one thing that rhymes with jollof in the entire world language, and that is Wolof. So there's no other reason for jollof to be called jollof unless it's from the Wolof. You see what I mean? So you won the argument there. That was the point I was trying to make in any case.
Okay.
And yeah, thanks for adding to that. So, do you want to do a football song? You want?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah, I know, but we're not. We're not going to be satisfied till we hear some one-off chants.
Oh man.
Just one, if you don't mind.
Whew. We usually just sing Viva la Senegal.
That's
what we
French.
sing.
That's not one.
No, but that's what we sing.
I know, but that's
So
French.
go on, sing it. We want to hear it. The French
Oh
people
my
in that room
gosh.
want to hear it.
Vive la France, vive la France, vive la France. Vive la France. Oh yeah.
That was Creole, by the way.
Yeah,
As you wanted.
Viva la Senegal. Viva la Senegal. My freak. Viva la Senegal. That's as much as you're getting, man.
That's good.
Yay!
I love the way that they put some harmony into their songs. All we sing is England, England, England. Don't laugh. Okay, and well, Saskia is here in the studio. S-Rise is here as well.
Straight.
He's a former footballer and musician,
Yeah.
and he's representing Guadeloupe, one of two Guadeloupeans in the studio.
Indeed.
So where can we hear your music, S-Rise?
Online you just type s.rise and everything will come up straight away.
And when you were a footballer, were you destined to play for France or for Guadeloupe?
As Guadeloupean, we don't have a choice.
Oh, you don't have a choice
No.
because you don't have your own football team.
We do have our own football team,
Yeah.
but when you get to that professional level,
Yeah.
you automatically playing for France.
Why?
We are
Because
colony.
we are
Exactly.
still on the
Because you're a département.
exactly,
Yeah.
You're not
exactly.
even an independent country.
No, not
We're
yet.
in the islands. and
Not
then
yet.
we
Just a
have
little tiny island.
Indeed.
Yes.
An insignificant island.
I wouldn't
Yes.
say that, but I
But
would. In sports, very significant.
Well,
but-
Yeah, okay.
but
Yeah.
Compared to the other African countries, you can actually, if your mom and dad are from, I don't know, let's say Senegal or whatever, even if
You
you're,
can choose.
yeah, you
You
can
choose one or
actually,
the other.
yeah. And what we need to remember, because a lot of people saying that France is using the players, I think it's the other way around.
That the players are using France. In
Yes.
which way?
get-
Which way?
I will tell you why. If you play, no disrespect, if you play for Senegal or Nigeria,
Yeah.
there is a smallest chance for you to get to
Yeah.
the semi-final or final than if you play for France. As a footballer, your dream is to win the World Cup in your career, right? So for me, the perfect example is Bogba's brothers, his twins brothers. They couldn't make it. They knew they wouldn't be able to make it in the French team. They went and played for Guinea. And Pogba having the the skills to play for France, said he could have choose to go and play for Guinea. He decided that he's gonna play for France. All right.
Yeah.
Why? Because he knows got a stronger chance to go and win the World Cup and have down my CV. When I come back, I can negotiate my contract.
That's the least they can do.
Right?
Of course, of course. Of course. and this is what it will do.
Giving all the trick of the trade.
And some Manchester United fans are wondering tonight, why does he never play that well for us? You know, we bought him for
Listen, we all wondered for the past 50 years for England, yeah? So
Don't
don't
be
go
jealous.
there, don't go
You
there.
keep thinking I'm English when I keep telling you
Yeah,
I'm Nigerian. I'm Nigerian. Or Swedish, actually. I'm Swedish. Yeah, I'm Swedish. The point you make, Ezra, is a really valid one. So for you then,
Yes.
is it a choice between, is it a pragmatic choice? You know, by that I mean, is it a choice out of, you know, good sense that you make, you know, you make the best choice, the sensible choice? Or is it really about nationality, about heritage, about all those things, patriotism to the country, the soil of your birth or of your heritage?
I think it just depends on, I believe, how strong you feel about your mother and your dad country. We have another example of Drogba decided not to play for France. Right? Okay,
Isn't
so
Because Drogba isn't French. to start with.
isn't it? It's not French.
It's not.
The-
And I think
thought it was.
there is something that I think most people call the football nationality, if you
Yeah.
see what I mean. So, for instance, I have a kid who is not only British, Swedish, and French. If she happened to be good at, you know, in athletic or whatever, she would just have to choose what country she want to represent. It doesn't mean that she has less feeling for a certain. It's just depend on what it's actually beneficial for that specific athlete, and it's not just in football.
Is it different for your daughter than it would be for you? I wonder if things have changed from one
So,
generation to another.
That's actually a good point, because it was quite conflictual already at home, because we did have friends who qualified for the football. I'm French. My husband is Swedish. Sweden was in there, and obviously we all as a family lives here. Therefore, you know, we feel, you know, that we owe something to the Great Britain. Thank God Cameroon wasn't playing, because at some point the conflict was kind of building up. I think it's different. There is always a conflict when you. I was born and raised, you know, up until the age of 14 in Cameroon, and then moved to France. There is always that conflict in terms of culture, you know, and sometimes you can be reminded to be too French or not enough Cameroonian, or so. Yeah, it's different, but I think we all live that to some degree.
Talar du svenska. Talar du not svenska.
Come again?
Talar du svenska.
Yes. That's
Yes.
not for me to speak though.
Okay. Ja,
speak-
ja,
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 yeah,
det
fair
gör
enough.
jag. Det gör jag. Det gör jag. And one more player in the mix here tonight, Abdoulaye Traore, who we haven't mentioned so far. And Abdoulaye, it's a real pleasure to have you here, because you're a genuine footballer, and you were playing since the age of 15 for Paris Saint-Germain. Whoa!
Oh!
Ici c'est Paris. Ici c'est Paris. Pardon, sorry. PSG, PSG.
PSG. Abdoulaye, gosh, what did you make of the final, first of all? How much did you
Excuse
enjoy?
me, my English is very bad.
Your English is better than my French. It's very good. It's better than my
You want me
French.
to translate?
C'est le plus mieux. Le français comme
On va t'aider, Abdoulaye.
je parlais. Oui, tu parles bon.
Il te
alors.
demande qu'est-ce que tu as pensé de la finale.
Franchement, j'ai trouvé que c'était une belle finale.
Stay there. I found that
Stay there.
it was a good final.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay,
Yeah, I
good.
understand. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
J'ai trouvé que c'était une belle finale parce que il y a eu du niveau dans les deux côtés, du côté de la Croatie et du côté de la France.
So he found that, yeah, the game was great because you had a very good level of football on both sides.
Mais durant ces 90 minutes, on a pu voir que la France était au-dessus grâce au score.
And within those 90 minutes, we clearly saw that France was above, and the result took.
Did it surprise you? Did it surprise you? How much of a surprise was the way that the Croatia played? Because they played very well, and sometimes in that second half, particularly in the beginning of the second half, it looked like Croatia was the better team.
En fait, il demande.
Ils ont joué comment? Ils ont joué comment? Comment la Croatie a joué, et ils pensent que dans la deuxième partie du jeu, les Croates, ils ont mieux joué que les Français.
Dans une partie, oui, parce que en première période, on a plus vu la France jouer que la Croatie. On a plus vu le niveau de la France. Il était beaucoup plus au-dessus que la Croatie. Mais comme la Croatie a augmenté le niveau, on aurait pu comparer les deux équipes. Mais on ne peut pas dire que la Croatie était au-dessus, sinon ils auraient gagné.
So he said that in the first place, yes, you could say, okay, they kind of good players, they're a bit, good game, but at the same time, the French kind of run up into the level, so they were on the same level, but at the end of the day, if they were better, obviously, they would have won the cup. They didn't.
And ask Abdoulaye, because obviously, playing for Paris Saint-Germain, he must know the great French teenage player Mbappe. How well has he known Mbappe? Has he played with Mbappe? Does he know anything? Can he share anything about Mbappe for us?
Et il demande, est-ce que tu connais Mbappé personnellement ou est-ce que
Tu peux partager des
partager
anecdotes.
Oui, Mbappé est venu voir notre équipe plusieurs fois jouer en match. 4 fois, je crois, cette année. Et il nous a beaucoup donné de conseils. Et il nous a surtout dit que, comme il est très jeune, l'âge ça sert à rien dans le football. Que tu sois petit ou grand, si tu as le talent, tout peut marcher.
So Mbappe came to their club many times this year, actually 4 times this year. And one of the big things that he said, it was like, no matter your age, as long as you're good, whether you're strong, you're tall, you're skinny, you're fat, if you're good, you're just good and you're going to make it. So don't worry, because there's this competition. I'm 14, I'm 16, I'm 18, I'm not 10, and you just run after the carrot. And he said, just be good, be the best, and no matter your age, you'd get there.
And what is the origins of Abdoulaye's origins? In Africa, obviously, the name Traoré is a West African name. Is it Senegalese, or where is he originally from? His parents from?
Tu lui dis pas de Traoré, mais d'Afrique.
Je viens de Côte d'Ivoire et de
Côte d'Ivoire.
Mali.
Côte d'Ivoire. So Ivory Coast, like the
And
great
Mali.
And Mali. Yeah.
Mali and Ivory Coast. Yes.
To tell him no disrespect, but Mali doesn't count in football.
What did I say? What did I say?
No, it's true, it's true.
What did I say?
C'est vrai. C'est vrai.
I'm sorry.
It's true.
Okay, so what?
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I will. Oh, yeah.
Please,
No,
don't
no,
say
let him answer
No,
this.
please. Let me just concentrate on the question. Because it's too close to me. It's about football to me. The question I really wanted
And
to
he's
ask
taller
him.
than you.
Well, yeah, it's true. And he's handsomer, more handsome than me. Do you want to throw that in as well?
No.
Yeah, and he's a lot skinnier than me. Do you want to throw that in as well? But to ask him this, when it comes to his time, when there's a choice between playing, this is what I meant about Mali, because really the choice would be between Côte d'Ivoire and France. Who's he going to play for?
Donc quand tu seras au top et qu'un jour tu te retrouveras dans une situation où tu dois choisir entre la France et la Côte d'Ivoire, tu voudras jouer, ou le Mali,
Or Mali,
Côte d'Ivoire,
Let's throw that in.
France ou Mali, tu voudras jouer pour qui, d'une part, et est-ce que tu seras en conflit avec toi-même?
J'en parlais il y a quelques heures avec mon grand frère là, mais franchement, à l'heure d'aujourd'hui, je sais même pas quel pays je vais choisir, mais je pense plutôt que je vais aller vers la Côte d'Ivoire parce que c'est un pays que j'ai toujours admiré. Il y a eu des grands joueurs comme Didier Drogba, il y a Touré, etc.
Le frère est très fier.
Mais franchement, la France, c'est un pays que j'admire, comme aujourd'hui, ils ont pu gagner la Coupe du Monde, mais la Côte d'Ivoire, je penserais plus sur la Côte d'Ivoire.
So he said that he was actually having this chat with his big brother, who's also is an athlete in Taekwondo, and he's in the French team, and he's going to go to the Olympic and stuff. So it's a big sport family, and they all have the same experience of who are we going to play with. And he was saying that actually he's got such a relationship with Ivory Coast through his family, through his life, through that the choice wouldn't be that hard, but he would most probably would go and play for Ivory Coast. And I think it's a sign of the day as well, and a sign of a generation, which they don't owe nothing to France, and they can be free to pick whoever they want to play.
Yeah.
It's interesting. How old is he, by the way?
15.
He's 15. I've got a 15-year-old in the house. And no, it's amazing. For me, it's amazing because at the age of 15, he has control of his life.
Yes.
And he's disciplined. He's disciplined.
Knows what he wants.
Yeah, he knows what he wants, and
He's good at what he does as well.
And he's an example to all of us, you know, not just people who are 15. He's an example to all of us. Yeah, go on. What were you going to say, Saskia?
I was just gonna say Mbappe is only 4 years older than him.
Yeah, amazing. No, true.
That's the sign of the times.
That's a very good point. The youngest, but isn't it fantastic, Saskia, though, that when there is the negative narrative about young black boys, we've got a boy in the studio who is doing his own thing. He knows about the way the system works. He's taking control of his life, and he's being an inspiration, because if Abdoulaye succeeds, it inspires my children and your children and everybody else's children. Mbappe succeeding surely inspires young people in France, all over France tonight. I'm imagining so. But will it change their lives for teenage young people in Paris who, from what I've seen, all seem to be rappers? I know that's disrespectful to say that.
I think it's a bit of a cliche here. I'm from Paris.
Yeah.
I'm a hardcore girl from Paris. Yeah, like
Hardcore.
Paris
Hardcore.
forever.
Yeah.
I would say, oh yeah, all boys in Paris are rappers. No, all boys in Paris are not rappers. Boys in Paris are also footballers. I am a mother, and I don't want my son to be a footballer.
Right. Okay. But look.
No. So the thing is, it can be inspirational, but it's not just everything. I'm really happy for this boy because he's got a fantastic career at 15 years old. And what would be inspirational is that he would go and play for an African team. That would be the real inspiration.
Why?
Because,
Why is
because
that?
I mean, for me, as the mother, and oh, your son is cute. Does he play football? No, he doesn't. Thank you very much. But he knows how to do other things. If you go back and play for an African team, can you imagine if all those African players would go and play for African team?
Oh, yeah.
Who would be who
No
would
one
win?
would be playing
Who would win in
France
Europe?
team.
Nobody would win in Europe.
That's a fair
You know,
point.
it's like nobody. Because you know what? They ain't got no one. If every single of those kids would go and play, if the government, rather than giving loads of money to their kids to buy clothes at Hermes and Saint Laurent, they would put that into the sportsman to make them the leaders and the example of tomorrow in Africa. Trust me, we'll win after win. We can even win in a sleep, having a nap, we're still winning.
So what difference? What difference? Go on, Kerry.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure I totally agree with
Yeah,
that
I'm
because
not sure
that
I totally
means that underline the fact that in Africa we don't have talent. We do have talent. How we develop those talents, it's somehow down to the way they've been developed in Europe.
But
And
we
can't
have
deny
talent
that.
in Africa.
Having said that,
I'm sorry. I'm sure Agnes will agree that we have talent in Africa, but they're all here in Europe.
Basically.
Can I just jump on that? We have talent in Africa. It's not a matter of talent. It's a matter of management and a matter of money. When you're showered of money, showered of money, that's a real competition. Because so far until those days, the player were bought. They don't even know how much they've been bought, and they don't even know how much they've been sold to another club. So when you have that much power and money, it's a huge competition. So take the money aside, take the management, and take the talent aside, because we've got all of that on the continent. We'd be winning.
Oh, hold on. We're going to carry on this conversation in a moment or two. Fascinating conversation. It's great to have you all here in the studio, not least Abdoulaye Traore, who's here with us as well. He's a genuine footballer. He plays for Paris Saint-Germain, amongst other things. Let's get the latest BBC Radio London headlines first of all there. And now the travel with Fiona McKinnon.